Okay, so I wanted to start this video with hopefully some practical information. I'm gonna just go through the mandatory gear that we're gonna need for the race, and then I'll throw in some packing tips for that, and then let you know what the rest of the vlog's gonna look like too. But basically, I'm literally just gonna run through the gear that's listed on the website. If you haven't looked at that yet, definitely jump on. I might even pop it down in my description, so you can just click on that, jump straight in. And it's literally gonna tell you everything you need. So whether you're doing the 30, the 50, the 100, or the miler, everything's gonna be there. And it's really important that you make sure you have all of these things on race day. So the first thing it lists is a thermal top. So this is the one I have. It's just from MacPack, and you just need to make sure that it is made of the right material. So things like polypropylene or merino are great because they're going to keep you warm. Things like lycra and compression, you can't use those. So make sure you double check the material that your thermal's made of. The next thing is a waterproof jacket. So the one I use is Salomon. This one here. And I think it is really good to make sure you just get a quality jacket. You could buy something cheap, but it's something that you're gonna be, if you're gonna be doing lots more races, you're gonna basically need this anytime you race. So make sure you do invest in something that is good quality. And then you just need to make sure that it is waterproof and not water resistant. So a big key factor to be able to tell is they'll ask for the zips to be seam sealed. So I don't know if you can see, but you can see this zip here, how it's fully covered and you can't see like the teeth. That's seam sealed. And then it also mentions that the hood needs to be like permanent. It can't be like a hood that you can take on and off. And then also, obviously, you're not gonna pack something like a poncho because that obviously isn't gonna meet the guidelines too. And just, yeah, double checking that it is a waterproof material and not a water resistant jacket. It asks for a buff or a beanie, so usually I'll just throw in a buff, and that's really good because it just folds up nice and small. Mobile phone, so make sure that you pop your mobile phone in. If you're a little bit concerned about it, just throw it in a clip lock bag. Okay, that way if you do sweat or it does rain or anything like that, then you know that it's gonna be fine. And then I always take the case off too, so I'm just trying to minimize as much weight as I can. It says that you need the emergency instruction card, so usually you'll get this one at check-in and you literally just throw that in your bag. It's no worries at all. Obviously we need to put all this in something, so make sure that you've got a pack. Some people will use like running belts. If you can fit all your gear in a running belt, fantastic. I haven't managed to yet. So I'll be using this Salomon pack. So it's the S-Lab Ultra. And you also need a whistle. So make sure you check because most vests will have a whistle integrated into them. So in this one, there's a little zip up here and then you've got your whistle right there. So it just means you're not packing extra if you don't need to. A space blanket. So these are pretty easy to find at chemists. And then also a compression bandage too. So pop both of those in. It says that you need 2 liters of water. So you can do this in a few ways. Depends what you've been training with and what you're comfortable using. I'll use flasks. So I've just got flasks that I'll throw in my bag. Alternatively, if you have been using like a bladder, just make sure you've got that bladder in it, that it is 2 liters and throw that one in your pack. It says that you need 2 food bars or like portions of food. So yeah, muesli bars, lollies, whatever you've been eating during training, gels, just make sure that you always have some spares in your bag too, because you've got those aid stations, but you never know, like it might take you a bit longer to get from one to the other. So just having like an emergency stash in there can sometimes be really handy too. Ziploc bag for rubbish. So again, Ziploc bag. Then your race number, you're gonna get that on race day, and a headlamp. So I'll use this one. It's a Petzl. It's a Bindi, it's called, and it is just chargeable, so it doesn't have a battery you have to put in and out. It's just a plug in. Super lightweight. Make sure it's charged too. You think, I don't know, I think you think sometimes, oh, I'm never gonna need that, but yeah, really important. Make sure that you charge your headlamp. Compass. Now this was one that I've only just recently figured out. If you've got a decent running watch, you probably have it on here as well. If you go into your run setting that you're going to be using, usually it's going to have like some kind of options. So in this one, if I go into navigation, it brings up some options. And within these options, you see one that says compass. Select that. And then when you start, if I actually flick through these screens, you'll see the compass there. So as long as you can prove that you have the compass on there and then you know how to access it, then that's going to be absolutely fine on race day. Then it also asks for a lightweight dry sack. I've always just used a clip block in this case, and then it's really good because it's multi-purpose. So you can use this clip block to actually jam all your stuff into. So if say you've got like your thermal and your buff, throw it in, get like your space blanket and your compression bandage. Probably leave my head torch out, but you can kind of like vacuum seal these. And you just squash all the air out, and then it just means that when you put it in your pack, you're just taking up as least space as possible. And then you know everything's just going to stay together. It's going to stay nice and dry. If it rains, none of this material is going to be soaking up water and getting really heavy. And then another thing too is make sure that you know your pack. So you know which pockets are useful for you and know which ones maybe aren't so useful for you. So like this one for me at the back, I know that I can't reach that when I run. I'm not going to put anything in there that I'm going to need. So I'm not going to put any of my gels in there because I know I'm not going to be able to get into them. Whereas I know I've got these like zips on the side, I can access those. I'll probably store my gels in those while I'm running. And then a few other like tips and tricks for when we're racing too would be make sure you've actually trained using your pack. Make sure you know that your flasks fit well, or if you're using a bladder, make sure that hose reaches. Make sure, yeah, like I said, you know which pockets you can use, and make sure like you practice using the shirt or the singlet and the pack that you're going to use for race day. Because if you're going to get things like chafe, you want to know that before the day comes. And then if you are going to chafe, you know that you can just pop heaps of Vaso on before the race or even during to stop it getting worse. And really good too to actually go for a run, put all this mandatory gear in and see how it feels. It's going to be a bit heavier than you're probably used to. You also want to see if anything's bouncing around. The less bouncing, the more comfortable of a day you're going to have. So make sure you just move everything around, see where it sits comfortably, and then you're going to have a much better day. If you got any questions about the mandatory gear, feel free to pop it down in the comments. And also, if you're doing the 100K and you want Christian to kind of give you a run through of that first part of the course, let me know, because I reckon I can convince him to jump on and have a little chat. But yeah, for the rest of the vlog, I just kind of go through my week, back to normal training, and yeah, just having lots of chats, talking about heart rate monitors and stretching and recovery. Yeah, just left Sunday out, so kind of finished the vlog on my Saturday long run, and yeah, jumping into the next one after that. Enjoy. So the biggest struggle I have with training by myself is making decisions. So this morning I've got a hill session and then I've also got gym. And for the hill session, I'm looking for a hill that's like 5% incline. And you'd think I know where all the hills are around here because I run so much, but like I just run the trail all the time. So I don't even know where the good hills are. And I was having a look on Strava and trying to find something, and it just feels so difficult. So I was like, oh, I'll just go run on the treadie, whatever. Set it to 5%, take it down for the recoveries. But then in my head too, I'm like, oh, that feels a little bit like cheating. So I don't want to go run on the treadie. I want to run outside, but now it's raining. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the gym this morning while it's raining, go to work, and then after work, hopefully it's all cleared up, it's nice, and I can just head out. I did find a street, it's about 2K away, it's about 4%, so I've seen some other people on Strava do that as a hill session, so I think I'll just head out there and that'll be me for the day. But yeah, just absolutely hate choosing. Turns out I was wrong and it didn't stop raining. It's been like sunny then rainy all day, but it's still about 9 degrees, so I'm committing to the treadie. I just messaged my coach and got him to change the session, so I'm going to do 10 minutes warm up, and then I'll do 3 sets of 10 minutes, and I'll build from aerobic to threshold effort at 5% incline, and then do a 5-minute kind of recovery between. And I actually don't remember the last time I ran on a treadie, like maybe overseas. But I think there's something really enjoyable about it sometimes, you know, where you can just, you set a pace, you set an elevation, you just like lock in. It really takes all the brain work out of running, which can be good and bad, but I think today it's definitely good. I've had like a pretty big 2 weeks, so just trying to be cautious of not doing too much as we kind of come up to the race. I'm squeezing in a little bit of heat prep before Kosci. So today for my aerobic run, I'm just going to go out wearing a few extra layers. I haven't really done this too much, so I'm kind of being pretty cautious on how much I'm going to wear. So I've just got some skins on, a thermal, and then I'll pop my rain jacket on just to keep the heat. I don't really go and use things like saunas. Well, I haven't. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of just overdressing to get used to the heat. It's, you know, you're still getting your run in and then you're getting that heat prep at the same time. You don't have to like allocate extra time to go and do something else. Ideally hoping doing just a few of these for 2 weeks will just give me some kind of prep into Kosci. So if it is a bit of a warmer day or on like those really exposed sections of the trail, I'm just going to be able to manage myself a little bit better. Because yeah, like I said, I know in the past I haven't done that. I'm not going to show you how sweaty I am, but that was cooked. Just like that weird feeling of sitting uncomfortably in your own sweat. It's disgusting. But that's done. So that was 10.69 Ks, average pace of 5:23, and a total of 57 minutes and 42 seconds. Heart rate 148. So I probably should have pushed that up a little next time. Back home for a build run this morning. So just writing down some paces. We're upping it to a 50-minute build, so same like pace zone, so 440 to 320, And then instead of having 4 15-second spikes in the last 10 minutes, I'll up that to 6 as well. So I'm a little bit nervous and I'm more nervous that I'm just gonna pace it wrong again, because it seems to happen every time that I change the amount of time I'm doing it for. So I might spend a few minutes just making sure I know what I'm doing, and then hopefully, yeah, when I get out there, it's all good. And yeah, just waited a bit longer this morning, waited for the sun to come up, trying to expose myself a little bit more to some sunshine and some kind of heat here in Melbourne. And then the other thing I've noticed that I do for some of my sessions is like I treat it like work, you know, lock in for the workout and then, yeah, come home. So I'm not just waking up and being like, oh, I've got to run. I'm like, all right, I want to do this right. And I think the reason for that, so I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were saying, you know, if you treat something like a hobby, then it's always just going to be a hobby. Whereas if you treat something like work and or aiming to like meet the goals and the expectations that you set for yourself, then you're going to see more improvement. So I think, yeah, taking the extra time to like prep and do like a mobility warm up before I get out and mentally prepare too definitely helps like execute the session. And then even making sure like after I finish running, I take a minute or a few minutes just to stretch and cool down properly so that I'm not getting injured and just, yeah, looking after my body the way that I can, rather than treating it as like just a box I have to tick. I don't think I've had to talk about having a bad session yet. And I was super hesitant to like want to bring it up as well, but at the same time, I think I learn more from bad sessions than I do from good ones. So today was meant to be 15-minute warm up, 50-minute build from 4:40 to 3:20. 6 15-second spikes in the last 10 minutes and then a 15-minute cool down. So it was an hour 20 total. What I actually did was 15-minute warm up. I did a 40-minute build. I went from 4:40 and I got down to 3:35. That was about 40 minutes and I was absolutely cooked, and I was like, there's 100% no way I can go any faster than this right now. So I stopped, had a little rest, got my heart rate down, and then I just did 6 by 30-second strides with a minute and a half between, right at the end, and then into a 15-minute cool down. I think having bad sessions is really hard sometimes because you like try to figure out, is it you giving up? Is it your body giving up? Are you giving yourself excuses? And it could be any of these things, but I think being honest with yourself and trying to figure out like what the actual reason is super important. So for me, there's probably some like external factors and then some like internal factors. The externals probably would be the last 3 weeks of training have been like pretty big for me. So I did a week of my first 100 Ks for a while and then I was at like 2,000 meters elevation for that. And then I went straight into 4 peaks. So that was over 100 Ks again for the week. And I was sitting at almost 4,000 elevation for that one. And then just the week past, I did the Kosciuszko recce. That was, yeah, over 4,000 meters again and still averaging 105 Ks. So looking at that, it does put it into perspective. And I'm like, all right, it's probably fair enough that my body's feeling a little bit tired. And then at the same time, like when I started running, I looked down at my heart rate and I was sitting at like 175 for my first K in the build. And I was trying to tell myself, oh no, my heart rate monitor is just playing up and whatever. I was like, I feel fine, this is fine. But yeah, by the time I just kept going, I was like, I don't think it's my heart rate monitor. So yeah, like I'm disappointed, but at the same time, I know that I can do the session. I just can't do it today. So just gonna put it behind me and move on.
Intake per hour was 66 grams, and in 2025 it's 91 grams. So that's 25 grams per hour increase over 4 years, which is very high. In Europe.
Good morning. Friday today, and I'm doing an hour heat run again. So just gonna wear some extra layers. And I've also gone back to using this chest heart rate monitor too. So previously I was using like the armband, and I don't know, I've just found like I've had some issues with it connecting, and like I don't really know where to place it, and then like my heart rate, I don't know, it's just not as accurate as it could be. So I'm going to go back to using this one, and the only issue I've ever had with this is chafe. So I don't love it, but got to do what you got to do. And then, yeah, like sometimes it feels restricting because you always have to pop it like underneath your sports bra, which is super annoying, but oh well. And then the other thing I've been like struggling to deal with lately is, so since I swapped to the Sunto watch from Garmin, I just had issues connecting it to things. So like I can't connect metrics to Training Peaks to upload like sleep data and stuff. I have to put that in manually. I can't connect it to my Medibank to earn points to like, so that I get discounts on like massages and things like that. Because it usually what it does is it tracks like your daily activity, and then you get like a certain amount of points every day, and whatever that builds up. And then when you get to like 10,000, you get, yeah, like a free hour massage. So that's a little bit frustrating. And then the other thing it does is it's got like an option to turn on and off wrist heart rate on your activities. So I'm finding I'm like having to check that that's off every time before I run, so that my other, like my external heart rate connects. Otherwise, if both are connected, I don't know what it does. It like jumps between the two. So I think even yesterday during that build, I looked at it after and my wrist heart rate was on. So it's like it was connected to both. And potentially that's why when I looked down at the start and it was quite high, like 175, I don't think that was accurate, but it definitely put me off for the whole session. So like, yeah, I don't know, a little bit annoying. I honestly think there's just like too much technology now. I was saying to someone the other day, I was like, the reason I switched to running from triathlon was because it's just simpler. And now there's just, I don't know, they just find a way to complicate it. You can't win.
You're doing it. And Paula, now as much as you want to talk about it, do you have a mindset or some kind of trajectory or plan for how you're going to get better?
All right, we're back to a normal Saturday. Back in Mount Macedon this morning. I've got a 3-hour run and Christian has 5. So we'll run the first 3 together, and then I'll just meet Christian somewhere afterwards. And a few life updates. So first one, we got a new car. We've upgraded our old Subaru to a new Subaru with heated seats. Big fan. Super nice. I haven't driven it, but I don't think I'll be allowed. And then I also fixed my sunnies. A little bit of super glue and some tape. I just have to remember not to bend them. But I can wear them and they're fine. So that's exciting. And yeah, less than 2 weeks to go till Kosci now, so just trying to stay healthy and make it to the start line, I guess. Christian and I were just chatting about like, I guess gear. The main thing we were talking about was like packs, and how we both prefer like the older packs that we had, and then we both bought like the newer version of them. And they're just, it's like they upgrade the wrong things. It's like the things that were working, they just took away. And yeah, I don't know. Like just like the accessibility and the storage and things like that just aren't as good in our newer ones. So yeah, we're both kind of debating whether we just go back to our old packs for the race. And yeah, it's definitely starting to warm up a bit too. So instead of being 5 degrees, I think it's 12 today. Sun's out, bit of wind. Ready to go. Hot tip if you're struggling to get your flask into your vest, blow some water into it. Slides right in. I got 20 minutes left. Christian's basically halfway. I don't know how he does it, eh? $30Ks, 1,079 meters ascent, 3 hours and 2 minutes, 6:04 pace, and 0 heart rate because it just wouldn't connect. Guess who gets to drive the car? This guy. I used to be like real weird about driving other people's cars, and obviously it's Christian, so it's kind of like a shared thing, but yeah, like I'd always be really nervous that I'd, you know, crash it or do something wrong, like completely ridiculous thoughts. And when I was in Queensland, I actually worked in the mines for a while, ended up being a bus driver. Like when I got my bus license, it was like this ladies initiative that they were running where they hired like 4 women to go and like drive buses. It was like super odd. And yeah, I got my bus license in like the normal buses that you see driving around, and they were basically just like, yep, jump in, you know, drive this around the streets, whatever. And I remember just driving down this one street and I had all these like chicanes down it. And it was fine, I was doing fine. But like, you know, like I'd hit one and then it kind of built momentum and I like kind of bumped the next one and the next one. And the instructor's kind of like, do you want to slow down a bit? I was like, oh no, it's all good. But yeah, once I went to the mines, we ended up doing lots of driving of like the rental cars, driving them from town up to site and from site back to town. So kind of got used to just driving all different types of cars. So yeah, I don't know, feels like a good skill to have. So yeah, I'm just going to drive down to a cafe now. Christian's, I think he's got about an hour left of his run. And yeah, that's basically all we're going to do today. Go home, eat some food, probably go to bed pretty early. Oh, one thing I'm trying to be better at is I like making sure I stretch and stuff after I run. So I just sat in the park for like an hour and yeah, just like stretched out my calves and my quads and my back and my glutes. And yeah, I just think it's a really important thing for recovery and just being able to back up the next day too.
Good.